Hello, I'm Liz Duplessis, the Instructional Designer in Distance Education at Santa Rosa Junior College. In this video, SRJC instructor Joseph Harrington gives us a tour of his fully online Spanish 1 class. He also talks about how teaching online allows him to reach more students, about his interactionist approach to teaching, and some of his favorite tools, including ConferZoom for real-time conferencing with students. Let's get started. Joseph created his Spanish 1 class in Canvas as part of SRJC's online college project, which provides incentives to encourage both full-time and part-time faculty to develop new online courses not previously taught online. He taught the class online in summer 2017 and found that the demographic mix of students was more diverse than in his face-to-face sections.
I think that I'm able to reach other students that I normally wouldn't. For example, language classes tend to be very female-heavy. Lots of women take language classes, we get fewer men. The online class that I offered this summer, I had a more balance. I had actually a few more men than I normally would have in a class. And so I think the online approach was addressing that particular demographic, as well as I also was able to teach a lot of working moms, which was really gratifying.
Joseph told me about his interactionist approach to teaching Spanish online.
To give a little bit of background, Spanish classes and any language classes are taught usually using an interactionist approach, meaning that interaction between the students, conversations, doing activities together where each student has different information are really important for positive Spanish and language learning. And trying to bring that approach to an online format is a little bit challenging because often we have students in an online class that are not have different schedules, and so they're not together like they would be in a normal class. While there are great tools like forums to promote interaction, I also wanted to make sure that my students didn't lose that immediate type of interaction between each other. Receiving that immediate feedback can really aid a student in their language learning. So to address that, one of the tools that I used was Zoom. For the pilot of this class that I did during the summer, we met twice a week at a set time from 6 to 7. And during that time, we had specific interactive activities where we pair people in groups of 3 or 4, or even down to a pair of just 2 students where they'd exchange ideas, do interviews, and learn about each other while learning Spanish. And so it was a very good tool. Zoom was very reliable for us and allowed students to get to know lots of different students using the auto pair feature.
Joseph used modules in Canvas to organize his lesson materials and to integrate publisher resources into his course.
I like to organize individual lessons by topic and by type. One thing is because language learning is a cyclical process. It's not just purely linear. You're always going back to material that you've seen multiple times. I wanted to make sure that the students could capture some of that process. So you can see, for example, my first section up here, preparation, practice, and review. These are links to the textbook where the students can go in multiple times throughout the course. These links are specific links to different activities, grammar points, vocabulary presentations that will be useful to the student. So the student would be able to click there and then go directly to that part of the textbook and then work. The textbook was nice in terms of it provided that feedback to the students, and also saved me some time, honestly, trying to create hundreds of small activities for my students to do online was just something that I wouldn't have time for given the limited scope of this project. So that was very helpful. Then I had a section called Interaction and Communication, and there's a mixture of activities here. You'll see here there's links to the Zoom sessions that we had with the date and the time, so students knew when to be there, as well as different forum topics. For example, here's a forum about them presenting themselves with the class, and in this one they talk about themselves. Benefit of using Canvas is it provides media tools, and so sometimes I'd have the students present using normal text, but also other times using just audio or video. So they're practicing multiple modalities of language, which was a real big benefit for us. Then I'd also usually do a follow-up activity so that the students could go through and listen to their classmates and learn about them, and then summarize some of the things that they learned using the new language that they were practicing. The culture section is a link to the textbook, which provides information about Spanish-speaking countries and culture. And lastly, the evaluations section. Here we have kind of the overview of what will be in a quiz, and the things that we'll be covering. We have oral comprehension, vocabulary, grammar, and culture were all parts of these sections. And I tried to give an idea to the students about what my particular focuses were for these quizzes.
Joseph's quiz questions are enhanced with multimedia.
SOLANO.
And so is that your voice?
That is my voice.
Okay, so you just use the Canvas recorder.
Yes, I did use the Canvas recorder. And the benefit, of course, of this is then it's my voice the students now know. And in a high-stakes situation, having the instructor's voice is so much more calming than having a completely new speaker, a completely new accent.
Right.
And so being able to personalize the quiz in that way was really important, instead of taking just a publisher-made quiz.
He also combined images with fill-in-the-blank questions for vocabulary words introduced in the lesson. In addition to using modules in Canvas, Joseph provided students access to the Files area in Canvas, where he uploaded materials that he's gathered over his years of teaching.
For example, with Lesson 2, you can see that there's different activities that I provided for them to get a different type of approach. For some students, honestly, the computer doesn't always stick trying to type something all the time. So it doesn't work for them in their personal learning style, and so sometimes having a worksheet they can print out reaches those students in a different way. And then, of course, these are also things that I've tried in the classroom that have worked well, so I was happy to provide that as additional resources for my students.
Thanks, Joseph. To learn more about the approaches and tools showcased in this video, go to de.santarosa.edu, click on the Distance Education calendar, and sign up for our workshops. To request a workshop, email me with suggested topics and a few possible dates and times. Thanks for watching!